day here in the city of Columbus, and I'll tell you why. 18 months of innovation, collaboration, and hard work are demonstrating that we've honed a new, effective way to prevent and reduce crime in our city. For months now, a non-fatal shooting pilot has been underway, and the results are incredibly impressive. You've heard me talk about our comprehensive neighborhood safety strategy, which encompasses prevention, intervention, and enforcement to disrupt the cycle of violence and hold violent criminals accountable. Prevention, intervention, and enforcement together move us toward the ultimate goal of preventing tragedies before they happen. So 18 months ago, Chief Bryant launched the non-fatal shooting pilot in the city's Zone 6, so that's the South Linden and Milo Grogan neighborhoods. The idea is simple and yet groundbreaking. Dedicate the same level of investigative expertise and urgency we bring to homicide cases to non-fatal shootings. Why? Because the difference between a fatal and non-fatal shooting can be a matter of inches or seconds. This is an idea that Chief Bryant brought with her based on some of her experience in Detroit. Listen to this. Our current citywide rate for solving non-fatal shootings is about 46%. But in our pilot project, that rate is 75%. It's not just a number. It's dozens of families getting justice and countless acts of retaliation prevented before they can happen. When a violent crime occurs, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. There's a web of causes and effects that must be examined, even when a fatality miraculously does not occur. This is an expansion of an approach that revolutionized our homicide investigations in 2022, when we moved to a team-based model that lifted our homicide solve rate from rough 40 to 50% to 82%. The non-fatal shooting team builds on that success, bringing detectives and patrol officers together, responding 24/7 and working in full coordination. Now, instead of two detectives working a case alone, an entire team responds immediately. Some at the scene, some at the hospital talking with victims, others already writing warrants. It's a coordinated, simultaneous response that captures evidence and information in real time. In these cases, minutes matter. And this program has transformed how we use them. Since its start in March 2024, the team has handled 78 cases. That alone is pretty fantastic. But get this, those solved cases also led to an additional 484 charges, ranging from attempted murder to aggravated robbery to weapons under disability. Take a second to think about that. Nearly 500 charges that were connected in direct links between cases due to the focused investigative efforts. And the impact goes far beyond those numbers. We believe this effort has directly contributed to fewer fatal shootings in Columbus, because we know that there's a very small number of people who commit the majority of violent crimes in our city. And so, when we stop a shooter, we believe we are likely preventing the next homicide. Just as importantly, this program is strengthening trust. When the same detectives show up day after day, community members recognize them. They talk, they share information, and the public is seeing the incredible results that these officers and team are delivering for the people of Columbus. That's how we build safer neighborhoods together. The non-fatal shooting team is adaptive, data-driven, movable, and has shown results. And we're not stopping here. Next spring, we'll establish one more team to work the same strategies in an additional zone. We're still crunching the data to pick the next best place to deploy this resource, and I look forward to updating you on where our second team will be deployed. And if we continue to see such incredible success, I'd love to see this approach one day be deployed citywide. This is what innovation in public safety looks like. Collaboration, innovative use of data, the pursuit of justice in compassion in equal measure. It's about saving lives, strengthening trust, and taking back our neighborhoods one case at a time. And the cumulative impact is remarkable. We're currently experiencing the lowest levels of violent crime that we have seen in decades, even while our city continues to grow. Now, one instance of violence, one shooting, one homicide is too many. But we can all be incredibly proud of the work being undertaken by Chief Bryant and this team in particular, and women and men across the entire division of police, our Office of Violence Prevention, and our community partners to make Columbus the safest it's ever been. I'm grateful to Chief Bryant and all of our efforts, and all of our officers and their efforts for their leadership, their commitment to keeping Columbus families safe, and for making our city safer and more secure for future generations. Now I'm proud to welcome our chief to the podium to discuss this program a little further. Chief?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Ginther, Director Prashadi, for supporting this initiative. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge, when you look up here, you're looking at this team. This is an amazing team that's doing the work up here. Assistant Chief Bacher leading the team, and Deputy Chief Coleman, so thank you. When I first arrived in Columbus, violent crime, specifically homicide and non-fatal shootings, were on the rise. One of the first things we did was change the way we responded to homicides to include the team concept. As a result, we saw not only a reduction in homicides, but an increase in our closure rates. So when looking at non-fatal shootings, it just made sense to look at a similar concept, to have a team approach that solely focused on non-fatal shootings, but in a specific area, to help connect the dots across investigations and the people involved, to identify suspects early on, and to prevent retaliation by disrupting cycles of violence before the next non-fatal shooting and or homicide. The goal ultimately is to treat non-fatal shootings with the same level of intensity, urgency, and integrity as homicides. This initiative started as a pilot program, and I asked this team to trust me, and they did. The program was and is successful because this team believes in what they do, and because of the collaboration with our community. This concept isn't about numbers, but about saving lives and making our community safer. I want to thank the FOP for not only understanding the importance of this initiative, but also working with this leadership team to make sure that the permanent teams would be allowed to expand to different zones. Now I want to bring up Sergeant Soha, who leads the non-fatal shooting team, to share a little bit more about the amazing work that they do.
Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Scott Soha, and myself and Julie Williams were leading this team as it was the pilot. And as she said, that this is now the permanent non-fatal shooting team. And I'm honored to be here to represent them and the Division of Police. Mayor Ginther and Chief Bryant had a very specific mission and vision when she came up with this pilot program. And it was basically to reduce the violence on Zone 6. And our specific reason was the non-fatal shootings. So this team assembled, like she said, she trusted the chief, and they worked tirelessly to bring closure to the most complex cases. These cases are very difficult to solve. Their dedication, professionalism, and passion for victims have set the standard for investigative excellence. So there's two main reasons why I thought this team worked very well. First one was time. So most of these detectives came from the felony assault unit, which is a very busy unit. They have very varied responsibilities, but that unit stepped up and took the brunt of everything while this team solely investigated non-fatal shootings. So whether that was hours, days, weeks, or months, they were able to focus on those specific crimes, while felony assault took care of everything else. The second element was the community collaboration and involvement. Without the community, our jobs aren't going to be so easy to do. The team was in the community from day one. They're knocking on our neighbors' doors, talking to the local business owners, and all of the leaders and members such as pastor. The best part about the time element is we're allowed to go in as needed. It could be every day, it could be every other day. So during this pilot period, I truly think this team became part of the Linden community. Just a couple examples of how these guys took these cases and made them what they are today. The first one I'll speak about happened on the 1300 block of Duxbury Avenue. Patrol responded, found a gunshot victim. This team was able to do some great work. Hundreds of hours of surveillance, interviews with witnesses, just getting in the community, getting their feedback. They were able to identify that suspect. And from that suspect, they did not stop. They kept looking at the past, their associates, and what they've been doing. Come to find out, they were a part of a ring of 4 that were involved in 9 previously unsolved serial robberies here in Columbus. So from that initial shooting, this team was able to charge 4 total suspects. Like I said, did 9 unsolved serial robberies. 138 criminal charges came out of that case alone. The second one would be from the 1200 block of East 12th Avenue. 2 homes were struck by gunfire. There was over 30 casings we located in the street. No leads, no information at all. There was 11 total victims inside of these houses, 5 of them juveniles. And the only reason we became involved is one of those juveniles was shot from the street. Again, this team took it, ran with it, and did what they do. They found 3 suspects that were involved in that crime. Again, they didn't stop there. Has to be a pass. Shooters remain shooters until they're stopped by the police. So we were able to associate those 3 suspects and 5 additional suspects, solving 11 previously unsolved felony assault crimes that spanned across 5 different zones here in Columbus. So that's basically the entire city. 101 total charges and 12 firearms were recovered. And that all stemmed out of 1 non-fatal shooting. So like I said, this is truly remarkable investigative skill and dedication, not only seen in this unit here, the non-fatal shooting team, but also our felony assault detectives. They've done a tremendous job as well. A leader in our community is here with us now, and it's an honor for me to introduce him. This is Pastor Timothy Liggins from Bethel AME Church. Pastor.
Thank you, sir. I can recall 2020 and 2021 being an exceptionally challenging time in this community. I personally experienced gunshots in my area, and my neighbors, my community, my neighbors and my members telling me of reports of constant gunshots. It was challenging. The murder rate was high, as we all know. And Chief Bryant came in because of the hire of our mayor. And they came up with innovative solutions. They stood up to the challenge. They stood up to the challenge. They heard our calls, our cries, and they stood up with they met the challenge with innovative solutions. And I like how they didn't seek to arrest their way out of the problem. They invested in these individuals. They sought them out. They invested in them and offered them opportunities for different pathways. I'm speaking specifically of the Columbus Violence Reduction Program. And these investments are paying off. I love how the entities are working together. I see how the Office of the Mayor, the Department of Public Safety, the Columbus Public Health, and of course the Columbus Division of Police, how they're working together and working together as a team, bringing together these solutions that they've come up with and enacting them, putting them into place. And so it's wonderful what we see, these entities working together, not pointing fingers at each other, but working together. And they have supported our local efforts. I believe Chief Bryant, in her one of her first 2 weeks on the job, she was here in Linden at one of our We Are Linden community walks, showing support, and so they support our efforts. Assistant Chief Potts would be at our Boys for Men Youth Conference. We would have 15 and 20 officers at that conference. So they support our local efforts. We're appreciative of that. And it makes us want to support their efforts. And so I count it an honor and privilege to join with the Columbus Violence team, Columbus Violence Reduction Team, to go on these customs notification, to be there as a community moral voice. I'm encouraged to be at the call-in sessions, you know, where they speak to these individuals and tell them that that there's choices, that there's resources that are available. We want to help them. We want to keep them safe, keep them out of prison, keep them alive. And so I'm just really encouraged by what's going on, and I am happy to support in any way I can. And so I see a much improving atmosphere. It used to be when I would walk out the door of my church, you know, I would have to claim Psalm 91. You know, first thing I walk out the door. But now I'm looking for my neighbors, you know, the kids across the street who years ago I literally saw them running from gunshots into the house, but now they're out playing, and so I greet them, hey Nevaeh, you know, hey Amelia, and it is a different atmosphere. It's an improved atmosphere, and so we have confidence in this team that they will meet any present and future challenge that will come up. And so I'm just here to let them know that I support them in any way I can. They can call me, and I'm there. I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm here for them. And so coming back up to speak is a great mayor of the city who's assembled a great team, come up with great ideas, and is pushing this forward, continue to push this city forward. Mayor Andy Ginther.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you. Thank you. Now we'll open it up for questions. I also want to acknowledge some of the great neighborhood and community leadership, members of our area commission, and folks that are doing some incredible work with us every day on the front lines. Thanks for your partnership and support of this initiative and so many other here that are part of that One Linden plan that we believe is critically important to see through. We'll be happy to take questions from the press. You can, out of respect for everybody's time that's here, if you could keep it to, you know, the focus of today's conversation. As you know, I'll stick around and answer any question that you have about any topic, but if we could take questions first about the non-fatal shooting work. Yes. Ooh. No worries.
Sort of double check some numbers for the pilot team that was launched. I think was it last year. The solve rate for non-fatal shootings was 75%. Did I hear that correctly?
Is that correct?
The solve rate for the non-fatal shooting pilot team is 75%.
75%.
Yes, the overall solve rate for non-fatal shootings as a whole is about 46%.
46%. Okay, thank you.
You mentioned the success of Zone 6 for the starting, and you mentioned potentially moving to a different zone. Are you saying that you're going to continue to work Zone 6, or are you moving the team to a different zone? The concern being that if you leave here, doesn't the problem just return?
No, the ultimate goal is to have a non-fatal shooting team on every zone. That's the ultimate goal. So we will not be taking this team and moving them to a different zone. We'll be creating an entire new team to go to another zone.
And can you speak to the age of the shooters that you did arrest? What were you talking about? How these juveniles or these adults? Can you speak to
Just ranges. We didn't bring any kind of stats, but just ranges from teens to adults.
I have a question. How do you answer maybe somebody who was shot 2 years ago or before, who suffered life changing injuries. Was their case, I know you have more people now, but in the past, was their case handled with the same investigative intensity, or is that a new push?
Well, what I can tell you is the felonious assault unit always handled the non-fatal shootings. What we saw was that there was just a opportunity to improve the way that we respond to these shootings. With that being said, this team doesn't just work on present cases, they also work on previous cases. So there have been some wins that they've had that weren't in that necessarily that window. They can go back and look at cases and be able to, if there's any information or if there's any new information that comes up. So they have some success in being able to close previous cases as well.
Is there any data showing the types of guns that were, or if guns were recovered, like what kinds, like mostly handguns, shotguns, rifles, that type of stuff?
So I can't speak to specifics, but I do know that we have recovered various guns. If anybody want to.
Primarily handguns, okay.
You mentioned there were 488 charges. Do you know how many of those actually resulted in convictions?
I don't think that we have that specific number as it relates to convictions, but I'm sure that that's something we could probably work on getting for you. But ultimately, when we arrest somebody, we look at all the charges that they could possibly be charged with, and that's where we get our numbers from. So it may be one shooting that could result in 30 charges for an individual, so.
So you mentioned, both of you mentioned wanting to have this citywide at some point. Are there any concerns about having enough resources or staffing to be in all of the neighborhoods?
That's why we don't have 6 teams now. We are definitely being very strategic and making sure that we are making sure that we have the resources necessary to be able to address the entire city. Our felonious assault unit, let's be clear, this pilot is amazing and they're doing some great work, but so is our felonious assault unit. We have other investigators that are investigating cases. We just see that there's an opportunity for us to be able to hone in and specifically address non-fatal shootings, which we know could ultimately lead to retaliation, possibly, i.e. another homicide. So this work is going to hopefully decrease what other crimes that we see, decrease robberies, decrease homicides, decrease other things. So we're definitely looking at focusing on creating these teams, but that doesn't stop us from making sure that we put every effort into any situation, where whatever zone it's on. It's just this pilot is specific to this zone.
The chief makes a good point, too. I mean, you can't look at this historic drop in homicides and not be looking at the incredible work done by the non-fatal shooting team, the felonious assault team. This all works together, and so does the investments we made in prevention and intervention. It's that comprehensive approach, we believe, that is showing incredible results. And with respect to resources, I think the statistics we shared today, the community support, the outstanding work of law enforcement, I think makes a pretty compelling case to the public that these are the types of things that we ought to invest in the future.
Mayor, can you speak to the fact that did this, a semblance of this team, require additional city funds to support them over time, such as, do you know what the cost was to put this together?
I don't know if we have a cost associated with it, but we can get you one.
And then Sergeant, you mentioned that this program was successful because of the community support. Do you have any idea what percentage of these cases that you solved were the result of community tips?
Not so much tips calling in the tip line, but these guys would be in the neighborhood the moment it happened. And they would knock on the same doors, the same, community leaders, the same businesses. So without having stats in front of me, I'd say most of them came from just talking to the community.
And if I can add, we have that same respect as it relates to homicide. We get a lot of tips. We have a lot of community people that will call us. We have great relationships in our community with the neighborhoods, with the business owners, with our community activists. And so I think that the relationships that have been built over the past several years have allowed us the ability to be able to reach out to community, and they feel comfortable reaching out to us. So we get a lot of tips.
You believe Zone 6 is safer today than it was yesterday?
I do.
Yes.
Mayor Ginther, you mentioned investments and how the non-fatal shooting was one of those investments, I guess, and this might be a DPS question. Has there been any talk of expanding more of ShotSpotter as well? I know that's been a key, I guess, player in solving, I guess, like gun shootings in general.
I'm not sure if that's being contemplated in an expansion at this point. I'm looking at the safety director, but It has been a useful tool, but there's no one thing, and certainly having the experience and the commitment and dedication of this team that's dedicated to this zone has been critically important to build those relationships, share information. And I would say this, Kevin, we'll get you a number on the cost, but based on these statistics and the impact on families and neighborhoods, we're going to spend whatever it takes to continue to make Columbus safer. And we think this is a great example of that, something that we could take to the public and have others realize how significant and impactful it's been.
Chief, you mentioned you brought this program from Detroit. It may not be a fair comparison, but how would you compare what they've done here versus what happened in your city, Forza?
Well, I can tell you that it's not even just specific to Detroit. There's a lot of cities that have non-fatal shooting teams. I think that it's important to look at what you have, look at your resources, and be able to make it specific to Columbus. Detroit does a great job with their non-fatal shootings, and they're able to have great relationships in their community as well, and able to get community buy-in and be able to close cases. But I can tell you, just in these past 18 months with this team, I have been blown away by the amazing work that they've been able to do, and the fact that they took this on. You got to understand, a pilot does not guarantee that you're going to have this. So to get them to buy in and to be able to give it their all and put their heart and soul into something that may or may not be able to stick around, they just believed in it. They believed in the process. They worked it. They came in. They've done everything that we've asked them to do, and as a result, you see the success that this team has been able to have with the non-fatal shootings.
Time for one more question.
I'm counting, but I just want to make sure it's 14 members in the non-fatal shooting team, right?
No, because some of there are not 14 members on the non-fatal shooting team. That you're looking at assistant chiefs, the deputy chief. You're looking at commanders. So the non-fatal shooting team doesn't have 14 members. No.
How many does it have?
Right now we have 8 members.
8 members, okay.
Yes.
A lean, mean fighting machine. I'll stick around if you all have questions on other topics, but really appreciate you being here. Thank you.